morning students. Today we are going to see gastric glands. Okay. These gastric glands are numerous, smaller, microscopic, compound, tubular in nature, which are numerously present in the human stomach. There are three different glands are present in the stomach: pyloric gland, fundic gland, cardiac gland, etc. We will see one by one. Before that, the location of the stomach and the brief structure of the stomach also we will see now. Okay. Now here is this is esophagus. Esophagus. Here is a opening. I think a small opening that is located between pharynx and esophagus. That is called as a upper esophageal sphincter that always to regulate the flow of food material from buccal cavity to esophagus only, and it will prevent the backward flow of food from esophagus to outside. Now here is one more opening is there for esophagus, by which only it will communicate with the stomach. Now here this is the stomach. This opening is called as a lower esophageal sphincter. Now this part of the stomach called as a cardiac part. So there is a opening in between cardiac part of the stomach and esophagus. Okay, that opening is regulated by a sphincter called as a lower esophageal sphincter or cardiac sphincter. Or gastroesophageal sphincter or gastroesophageal sphincter. That opening itself is also called as a gastroesophageal opening or cardiac opening, that is now regulated by a sphincter that is called as a cardiac sphincter also. Okay. Now this part of the stomach called as a fundic part. So this part is called as a cardiac part. Okay. Now first one cardiac, which is a very small part of the stomach, and finally that will surround the opening of lower esophageal opening or gastroesophageal opening or cardiac opening. So around that opening, the part of the stomach here is now known as a cardiac part of the stomach. Now the next part of the stomach is a fundic, that is somewhat round in nature, which is towards left side and superior to the cardiac part. So now this is the fundic part. Now from here to here, all this part called as a body. That is the major part of the stomach, largest part of the stomach. Okay. Now that body of the stomach forms a greater curvature and lesser curvature two things. Now from here to here, from here to here, this is called as a greater curvature. From here to here, called as a lesser curvature. The greater curvature and the lesser curvature both will be formed by the body of the stomach. Okay. Now, the lesser curvature is always at the posterior surface of the stomach. Greater curvature is always at the anterior surface of the stomach. You have to remember. Now, the last part of the stomach here is called as a pyloric part. Pyloric part. That will be the smaller and also last part of the stomach. That pyloric part is now again itself is distinguished into two regions. One is a wider part that always left side, and a narrow part that always towards right side. The wider part here is now known as a pyloric antrum. Pyloric antrum. Narrow part is now known as a pyloric canal. Pyloric canal. So this area is called as a pyloric antrum. This area called as a pyloric canal. Pyloric canal. Now it is also open to outside. Outside means into the duodenal part. That will be the small part. That will be the first part of the small intestine. Okay. I think pyloric canal has a small opening called as a pyloric orifice. So here a small opening is there. That is called as a pyloric orifice. That pyloric orifice by which only the last part of the stomach, that is pyloric part of the stomach, is connected with entered into the duodenum. Okay. Now that part also again has a ring of smooth muscles. A circular folding of smooth muscle will be there, acted as a wall, that finally called as a pyloric sphincter. So here which one is there? I think this structure is going to be like this. This is the duodenum part. This is duodenum part. Here is opening. That opening is regulated by one more sphincter muscle called as a pyloric sphincter. So this is called as a pyloric sphincter. Now this is the brief information regarding the stomach. How it is? It is a J-shaped one. J-shaped organ in the alimentary canal. Now shorter one, but somewhat wider part in the alimentary canal. Its location is upper left part of abdominal cavity. Left abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity just behind the diaphragm. Just behind the diaphragm. Now the entire stomach will have a peritoneal layer by which only it will be attached with the dorsal abdominal wall, especially that will be called as a greater omentum. That is called as a greater omentum. So greater omentum, it is a peritoneal membrane that is meant for to attach the stomach with the dorsal abdominal wall. Okay, called as a greater omentum. Now, what are the things over here now? When we see the histology, anatomy of stomach, there will be 4 layers. Yes, one is outer serosa. Outer serosa. It is also formed of 2 layers again. One is outer layer is visceral peritoneal layer. Visceral peritoneal layer. Inner layer is connective tissue. The second one is muscularis. Muscularis. I think generally you take any part of the alimentary canal at anywhere, we will see 2 layers, two muscles only in the muscularis part of the alimentary canal. They are outer longitudinal and inner circular. But now in the case of the stomach only, you have to remember forever, in the case of stomach only, especially in the muscularis, outer longitudinal muscle is there and middle circular muscle is there, behind it towards inside, inner oblique muscles are there. So, outer longitudinal muscles are there, middle, which one is there? Circular muscle is there, and inner oblique muscles are there. So, presence of oblique muscle is the important specific character seen only in the stomach only. That oblique muscles are not seen in any part of the alimentary canal, the entire alimentary canal. Okay, you have to remember that. Now the next part of the stomach here is a submucosa. Submucosa which is somewhat thin in nature. How it is? Thin in nature. But now highly extensively consists of blood capillaries plus lymphatic capillaries. But no glands are there. You remember here, no glands are present in that layer, that is a submucosa. Okay. Now the fourth layer, here I am writing the fourth layer, that is mucosa. The innermost layer of the stomach here is now known as a mucosa. That mucosa is also again formed of 3 layers. Outer muscularis again called as a mucosal muscularis. Now the second one is lamina propria. Now the last one is mucous membrane. Okay. Finally, mucosa, which is thick in nature. Muscularis, which is somewhat thin in nature. But lamina propria, which is always thick, because so many number of inward, especially outward foldings, which were developed by mucous membrane, that will be the innermost part of the mucosa. Such outward foldings are developed by it, extended into the lamina propria. Hence, lamina propria is somewhat completely highly thick in nature. Okay. Now the mucous membrane, it forms inner lining of cavity of stomach. So the stomach also has a cavity inside it. That cavity is now internally lined with this mucous membrane. The cells present in the mucous membrane are capable to produce mucus. They are said to be mucinogenous cells. Okay. Now, so many foldings are there in the mucous membrane. They forms a channels like cavities. So what I am saying now, channels like cavities. Channels like cavities, which are channels like cavities which are developed by the folds of epithelial layer present in the mucous membrane. So epithelial membrane that forms as a pit, called as a gastric pit. That pit that also has a wall, cells are also present in that wall. Now such cells are simple columnar epithelium. Simple columnar epithelial cells are there in the wall of pit. The cells are capable to produce gastric glands. So now gastric glands are developed by mucosa. Gastric glands are completely absent in submucosa. Gastric glands are present in mucosa, especially under mucosa. Which one? Now the mucous membrane forms so many pits. Pits are also with cells. Cells which are present in that wall of a pit forms gastric gland. Nearly in the human body, 3.5 crores of gastric glands are there. 3.5 crores of gastric glands are present in the human stomach. You have to remember it. Okay. Now there are different cells are also present in the gastric glands. We will see now. What are the different cells which are present in the gastric glands? One is cells of gastric gland. One is oxyntic cells. Other one is peptic cells. Other one is mucus cells. Okay. Other one is endocrinal cells. Okay. Other one here is now known as a we will see from one to one. Oxyntic cell. Other name for that one here is parietal cells. Parietal cells. They produce HCl and calcium intrinsic factor. HCl and calcium intrinsic factor. That HCl is meant for to convert the inactivated enzymes into activated enzymes and to kill the bacteria present in the food inside the stomach, and finally it will provide acidic media for the activation of enzymes which are present in that stomach area. Okay. Now peptic cells. Peptic cells are also called as a chief cells. Chief cells, other name is also there for them, called as a zymogen cells. Okay. Now that zymogen cells produces proenzymes. What are the proenzymes? There are two kinds only. One is pepsinogen. Other one is prorenin or pepsinogen. Okay. Pepsinogen furtherly converted into pepsin in the presence of HCl. Prorenin also converted into renin in the presence of HCl. The developed pepsin again will go for converting pepsinogen into pepsin, means autocatalysis, that process will be there. Okay. Now, in addition to that, pepsinogen and prorenin, gastric lipase, an enzyme also will be secreted in this area. Now, mucus cells, they produce mucus only. Now, the endocrinal cells are also present in the gastric glands. Endocrinal cells are now two kinds. Okay, one may be G cell. Another one is Argentophin cell. G cell produces a hormone, that is gastrin, a hormone. Gastrin. I think I write here. What are the cells here? Especially endocrine cells. Endocrine cells here, two kinds, G cell and Argentophin cell. Okay, G cell produces gastrin, a hormone. It is hormone that is more important for the production of HCl by the oxyntic cells. So it can able to induce oxyntic cells to produce HCl. Whenever food is entered into the stomach, immediately the epithelium is going to be initiated and immediately produces gastrin, a hormone. The developed hormone gastrin immediately will work on oxyntic cells to produce HCl and calcium intrinsic factor. Now, Argentophin cell. Argentophin cells are three kinds. One is secretin, especially serotonin. I think its precursor molecule is 5-hydroxytryptamine. 5-hydroxytryptamine. This is meant for vasoconstriction. Okay. Now the next one is histamine. Histamine is meant for vasodilation of blood capillaries. Here vasoconstriction of smooth muscles also. Now the third one here is somatostatin. That somatostatin is also secreted by Argentophin cell. It is a kind of endocrine cell. Finally, its work is to suppress, to inhibit the secretion of hormones throughout the length of alimentary canal. Generally, alimentary canal, gastrointestinal tract also can capable to produce hormones. The production of these hormones throughout the length of gastrointestinal area will be inhibited, will be suppressed, will be prevented by this somatostatin, a cell that is a kind of Argentophin cell. Okay. So all these cells are present in the stomach, human stomach. Okay. Now in addition to that, what are gastric juice. Here gastric juice is secreted by different gastric glands which are present in the stomach. Already we know that fundic gland is there, pyloric part of the stomach, that is pyloric gland is there, okay, and cardiac gland is there. Cardiac gland, cardiac is meant for to produce mucus, okay. Fundic and as well as the body, the body of stomach, they produces proenzymes. They may be pepsinogen and prorenin, as well as gastric lipase, and the last one pyloric gland produces a gastrin hormone. Enzymes are secreted by cardiac part, fundic part, body part of the stomach. Hormone is secreted by pyloric part of the stomach. You remember, gastrin, it is a hormone secreted by pyloric part of the stomach. So all these mixing together to form a gastric juice. So what are the components which are present in the gastric juice? Now we will see. What are the things are here? One is HCl is there, casein intrinsic factor is there. Now pepsinogen, prorenin, gastric lipase is there. Yes, gastric lipase is there. pH nearly 0.9 to 1.8, 0.9 to 1.8 will be the gastric pH, highly acidic in nature. That was due to the developing and forming, producing, synthesizing of HCl by the oxyntic cells only. Okay, you have to remember that. So these are the components which are generally found in gastric juice. HCl, casein intrinsic factor. This casein intrinsic factor is meant for absorption of vitamin B12. A cyanocobalamin vitamin is there. For its absorption, that casein intrinsic factor is most needed. If that casein intrinsic factor is not there, not secreted in the stomach area, now the absorption of vitamin B12 also may not be possible. So that is also more important, we have to remember. Yes. Now I think everything is over. How much gastric juice is secreted per day? Nearly 2000 ml to 3000 ml per day. 2000 ml to 3000 ml per day gastric juice is secreted by the gastric glands. Okay, I think this is the information regarding gastric glands. Now finally, how they are helping in digestion of food material, especially the proteins which are present in the stomach, especially the bolus which is coming from buccal cavity into the stomach. Bolus, if it is having a protein material, that proteins are going to be converted into proteases and peptones in the presence of pepsin. Okay, But before here, pepsinogen is converted to pepsin in the presence of HCl. Now the developed pepsin again will work on pepsinogen and convert it into again pepsin by the process of autocatalysis. The developed pepsin immediately will work on proteins. So to convert the proteins into proteases and peptones, simply pepsinogen in the presence of HCl, that is converted to pepsin. Now again pepsinogen in the presence of pepsin, again it is going to be converted to pepsin. That process called as a autocatalysis. And this developed pepsin will work on proteins. So pepsin will work on proteins. It is a kind of endopeptidase. Endopeptidase will work on proteins and convert them into proteose plus peptone. Okay, and at the same time, now the prorenin is also there. Prorenin is there in the presence of HCl. It is converted to renin. This is activated form. This is inactivated form. Now that renin will work on milk protein, that is casein. Now in the presence of renin, that is converted to paracaseinate. So paracaseinate in the presence of again renin plus calcium ions, it is going to be converted to calcium paracaseinate. Calcium paracaseinate, it is nothing but a curd. That is called as a curdling. That process called as a curdling. Once curdling process is over, the curd calcium paracaseinate is developed. Now on it, the pepsin again will work on calcium paracaseinate and convert them into proteose and peptone. Now here calcium paracaseinate, on it which one is working? Pepsin is working and converted into proteose plus peptone. Like that, the milk protein casein also will be converted to proteose and peptone, okay, by the action of renin. Okay, before that renin, it works and convert the milk protein casein into calcium paracaseinate. On the calcium paracaseinate only the pepsin will work and it will convert the calcium paracaseinate into proteose and peptone. Okay, finally these proteases and peptones, once the food is entered into the intestine, then only they will be digested completely by peptidases, a kind of other enzymes which will be secreted by pancreatic juice and intestinal juice, etc. That topic we will discuss later. Okay, now the gastric lipase is also there. Up to certain extent lipid molecules are also going to be digested, but now suitable pH may not be available for that. Hence a very limited amounts of lipids are going to be partially digested inside the stomach in the presence of gastric lipase. Okay, I think this is the story of about gastric gland. But now you see the structure of the gastric gland also. The gastric gland structure will be like this. Simplest structure. This is gastric gland structure. Okay, I think here this is not completely visible to you. I will draw again. This is This is a small opening of gastric gland. This is lumen of gastric gland. Now here all are cells. Yes, here some cells are like this. These are called as a oxyntic cells. Oxyntic cells. They are called as a chief cells. These are called as a mucous cells. Now this one, argentophin cell. Now it may be a G cell. G cell is meant for to produce gastrin. Argentophin cell is meant for to produce serotonin, 5-hydroxytryptamine, histamine, and somatostatin. 3 different things are also will be developed by this. Mucous cells are able to produce mucus. Chief cells are producing pepsinogen, prorenin, gastric lipase, etc. Now oxyntic cells, they produce us 2 things. One here is HCl, other one is calcium intrinsic factor. So these are nothing but, this is a mucous layer. This mucous layer is going to be folding and leave a small opening like structure that forms as a gastric gland. Okay, up to this the entire story of about gastric glands present in the human stomach is over. Okay.